You remember the Eternal Curse that Demise put on us way back in Skyward Sword, right? If not, here's a little clip to remind you of that day. In this video, let's talk about Demise's curse and what it could potentially mean for the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Zelda Theory. D-Rock here, and if you are new here, this YouTube channel is focused on the Legend of Zelda series, and in my opinion, it's just the best, and it's really the only game I care about. This channel will be the best source period for all things Zelda, so if at any time you find value during our conversation today, hit the subscribe button, turn on all notifications, and share this video with some of your friends. Your time means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much for taking the time to watch my content. So what do we actually know about Breath of the Wild 2? I mean, that's actually a legit question. The one thing we do know is that it's going to be dark. It's actually been confirmed multiple times. Now, the only thing we really have to go off is the confirmation from Nintendo that it's going to be dark and the trailer that we got. But the trailer does set a very clear and specific tone, if you will. Now, Breath of the Wild 2 looks like it's going to involve ancient magic that stirs the dead, and it could reshape Hyrule as Link and Zelda know it. I think we have all come to terms and accepted that the corpse stirring in the trailer is none other than Link's and Zelda's nemesis, Ganondorf. No matter how many times Link defeats Ganon, he comes back to life in one way or another. And that's sort of the very first Link's fault if you think about it. Now, if you have played Skyward Sword, you probably remember the extremely climatic battle with the Demon King and Demise at the end of the game. This final test of Link's swordsmanship was the ultimate test of the newly forged Master Sword. However, perhaps way more significant than that, it seems that the Skyward Sword's ending explains why the first Link wasn't the last. Now, with Demise's dying breath, he lays a curse on Link and Zelda that binds him to them forever. This basically means that all future incarnations of Link and Zelda are going to be forced to deal with Demise's eternal vengeance. Now, this isn't confirmed, and I guess you could consider it a theory in a way, that the wrath could be coming to a new high that poses a greater threat than ever. Now, obviously, Demise never actually expected to be defeated by Link, as few villains of his kind ever do. With his dying breath, he commends Link for his display of valor, but also places a curse. Demise swears to be reincarnated constantly for the rest of time, ever pursuing Link in search of revenge. He swears to shroud Link and Zelda's future selves in blood and darkness forever, haunting them in a new form every step of the way. It's pretty dark, isn't it? It's very clear what he means by reincarnations. Demise's appearance is highly reminiscent of another Demon King that constantly tries to destroy Hyrule and defeat Link. Both the monstrous Ganon and the Gerudo warrior Ganondorf are the Demon King Demise is given new life. Breath of the Wild's Calamity Ganon seems rather different from these other incarnations though. It acts in a much wilder and more monstrous manner, and its ghostly form doesn't immediately resemble the traditional depictions of Ganon. However, by its name and nods to Ganondorf, it's clear that this is still one of Demise's forms. Demise's curse goes unbroken even though Breath of the Wild is supposedly set thousands of years away from most of the Zelda games. Demise's impact on Breath of the Wild is extremely significant, man. Calamity Ganon seems stronger than any of his previous reincarnations. I mean, everything that happens in Breath of the Wild, it just points to this. He's so formidable that Hyrule has already fallen by the start of Breath of the Wild. Calamity Ganon's reach extends all across Hyrule, reincarnating monsters and infecting the Divine Beast with extensions of Ganon's power. This is a remarkable and also extremely alarming amount of power for Ganon to possess. The implication seems to be that Demise's heir is getting stronger and stronger. Even if Calamity Ganon was defeated by Link, Demise's curse might be getting stronger by the minute. Calamity Ganon is often associated with a red-purple plasma. It's a spiteful cloud of magic indicating Ganon's touch. Honestly, the way it seeps into everything across Hyrule makes it clear that nowhere is safe in the game. Now, in most of the games, it's very rare that Ganon has already won before the start of a Zelda game, and I think that should be considered a message for the future of Hyrule. So the time gap between Breath of the Wild and the rest of the franchise may have been Demise biding his time to gain strength. Like, it's a long time to build up some strength, right? Until he could stage his most ambitious attack on Hyrule yet. In fact, he may even account for the possibility of losing to Link, since Link has bested Demise before, starting to come together. Dying only to rise again immediately might have been Demise's plan all along. I think it's also worth noting that Ganon hasn't legit been sealed away in the traditional ways of The Legend of Zelda. Link doesn't need to obtain the Master Sword in Breath of the Wild, which is a completely different and a separate video that I want to create. So Calamity Ganon isn't defeated and sealed within the blade. The Triforce is also remarkably absent from Breath of the Wild. Like, it's one of the topics that is normally touched upon in a Zelda game, but it's not really touched on in Breath of the Wild. If Ganon wasn't sealed away with the Triforce's power, then it's hard to say that he's really dead. After all, Calamity Ganon constantly displays a mastery of necromancy. All this time, Demise may simply have been operating from Ganondorf's corpse, and now Ganondorf will rise again for a second assault. Now in Skyward Sword, Demise's curse specifies an incarnation of his hate, but not necessarily a reincarnation. Now this could possibly mean that Demise is past the point of a reincarnation cycle now. He can operate in a huge, crazy form like Calamity Ganon, or he can inhabit the shriveled corpse of the last Ganondorf. The curse may now even mean that Demise will always exist in some shape or form, and that there's really no stopping him unless the curse is actually broken. Now it's obviously that's easier said than done, right? Breaking the curse of a dark god, but we're gonna get into that. If Demise is getting stronger, Link and Zelda might need a lot more help than the heirs of their champions can muster. Breath of the Wild 2's antagonist might be the strongest form of Ganondorf ever encountered. A virtually immortal god with control over undead legions and the ability to corrupt ancient machines. It might even come down to divine intervention by the goddess Hylia in one form or another. Link develops something of a bond with her thanks to the goddess statues in Breath of the Wild, and now that he and Zelda are reunited, they might need to seek Hylia's favor together. Now it's actually pretty unlikely that Hylia would actually come down from the heavens and fight Ganondorf/Demise or Link and Zelda. Instead, she might give them a quest to find the thing they need to stop the Demon King. Does that make sense? It wouldn't be surprising if she shows them the way to find the lost Triforce. Maybe not. We will never know until the game comes out. That story artifact might be one of the few things capable of humbling Demise. Wishing upon it could be the way that Link strips Ganondorf of his power. If it can't break Demise's curse completely, it can probably at least put Demise back to square one where he started off in Skyward Sword. Odds are extremely low that Demise will appear in his Skyward Sword form in Breath of the Wild 2. I'd be totally down with that. Like, I thought Demise in Skyward Sword just looked amazing. He was one of the best villains to me. It probably has a lot linked to the fact that I'm a sucker for origin stories, so I liked Skyward Sword very much. His old self is largely lost, but he lives on through his new incarnations. Really, Ganon and Ganondorf's appearances alone are evidence of how Demise's curse could impact Breath of the Wild. The seemingly escalated power of Demise's heirs also suggests that the curse's bonds are squeezing Link and Zelda tighter. Breath of the Wild 2 is hopefully only a short ways away. I don't think we're getting it this year. That's just my opinion. You, as well as I, will be waiting for this game to find out what darkness lies in Hyrule's future. So hey, if you found value in this video today, I have so many more Zelda videos that I think you're truly gonna dig. Those videos are gonna be popping up on the screen in a moment here, so subscribe if you're new, turn on all notifications, continue to be the light, and remember, it's dangerous to go alone. Click on another Zelda video, I'll catch you over there.